You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. This morning when I woke up to a Google alert with regards to an issue that's been going on between the Trump campaign and one of the founders of the Lincoln Project, Rick Wilson, a never Trumper. He's been a huge critic of Donald Trump his entire presidency. And they've been criticizing Rick Wilson because of photos that were on his Instagram page from several years ago where there was a Confederate flag on a water cooler. Rick Wilson came out and said that he said that was nothing that him or his family supported nor endorsed, but that it was a girlfriend who was interested in his son, who brought that as a gift to his son. And then he said after that boat trip, it was immediately disposed of. And he's tweeted and talked about that. But what involved me this morning was a particular tweet that was sent in 2011 by Rick's wife, Molly Wilson. In that particular tweet, the word negro was used. I'm trying to pull it up. Literally, I just walked into our building after being out on the streets. And so let me just pull this up. And it was very similar to a particular tweet that was sent out that was by Roger Stone, of course, who was a huge Trump supporter, one of the biggest racists and thugs out there, who, of course, is awaiting to be sent to federal prison. And so in this particular, so what happened was Donald Trump Jr. Sent out a tweet last night saying, "Hey, Rick Wilson, do you and your wife usually use the term Negro to describe black Americans?" Trump Jr. tweeted, "Perhaps while sitting on your South will rise again Confederate flag cooler. Not very woke, racist Rick Wilson." He couldn't spell Wilson. So what happened was there was a particular tweet that was sent out by his wife. Let me know, team, if y'all able to see this here. Hold on one second. I'm trying to pull it up there. So let's see. Let me know if you have it now. And so somebody sent out a tweet, said, "Just ran into a near NASCAR hero, a Bass Pro, Roland Martin. He says hi." Well, Molly Wilson tweeted, "Famed angler or corpulent CNN Negro gas bag, Roland Martin. I assume the former." Well, that was the tweet that Donald Trump Jr. was referring to. I saw the story, was not aware of it. Then, of course, reached out to Rick Wilson. And then Molly Wilson called me. She called me to personally apologize for that particular tweet that was sent out. She said in our conversation, she called me this afternoon, she said she had no excuse for it. That is absolutely not the kind of thing that I say. She called it stupid, flippant, cruel, and inappropriate joke. She says, "I'm not that person. It was ugly and it was awful and I regret it. It was just mean and I was being a smartass and saying it was certainly a lack of judgment." because she said, I didn't realize how awful it was. I regret it. I absolutely regret it. So I certainly appreciate Molly Wilson for calling me personally to apologize for that tweet. Now, when Roger Stone used similar language, he apologized to a reporter, but he didn't have the guts to actually tweet me, or excuse me, to call me personally. And so I appreciate Molly picking the phone up once this story got out there to call me personally to apologize. But what's interesting about all of this here, you have Donald Trump Jr., who is criticizing Rick Wilson for this particular image of a Confederate flag. Yet this is the same Donald Trump Jr. who is the son of the man who made it perfectly clear he is not going to rename Confederate monuments named after Army bases. This is the same person. I've never seen them really condemn the flying of those Confederate flags all throughout the South and other places next to Trump signs. See, so it's real interesting when you have Donald Trump Jr., who is attacking Rick Wilson. Let me be perfectly clear. I don't support anybody waving the Confederate flag. I believe Mississippi should get rid of that flag as well. And speaking of that, here you have the SEC who announced today that they are not going to hold any championships in Mississippi unless that flag, that Confederate flag, is off of their state flag. The NCAA already has that in place. So here's what I want to see. I want to see Donald Trump Jr. call out the state of Mississippi, and I want to see Donald Trump Jr. call on his dad to tell Mississippi, take down that Confederate flag. See, it's real easy. It's real easy if you're Donald Trump Jr. and you want to condemn Rick Wilson and condemn his wife for a photo of a Confederate flag on a water cooler that was on their Instagram page. That was several years ago. That's real easy. But Donald Trump Jr., you can address the Confederate flag today. You can address it today. Will Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump and Ivanka Trump and Laura Trump and that birther Melania Trump, and yes, their daddy and husband, Donald Trump Sr., will they have the courage to say no to the Confederate flag? Will they tell Mississippi, take down that flag? Will they say, remove those Confederate statues from Statuary Hall in the U.S. Capitol? See, so Donald Trump Jr., since you chose to use me as a part of your attack against Rick Wilson, I'm challenging you to step up. I'm challenging you to say something and condemn what we see across this country. Do you have those guts? See, it's real simple to criticize one of your critics, but I want to know, do you have the courage to challenge your own supporters? I want to know, Donald Trump Jr., will you send out a statement saying no Confederate flags at any time near, at Trump rallies, and in fact, don't you dare wave a Confederate flag wearing a MAGA hat? Donald Trump Jr., I'll await your tweet. Molly Wilson called me. Rick Wilson called me. Let's see you show some leadership, Donald Trump Jr. All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. Seek.com, folks. So we got their headsets. Mary Spio, she, of course, is the founder, the creator, designer of these headphones. The 360-degree 4D headphones. Amazing sound. Gamers love them. Of course, I love music, and so it's great to listen to this wonderful sound that really travels around your entire head. That's why I love them the most. Plus, they're black and gold, being an alpha, I'm just saying. If you want to get the headphones, all you got to do is go to Seek.com, 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 and just simply use the promo code RMVIP2020. You see it right there. RMVIP2020 at Seek.com. You want to support Roland Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
No charcoal grills are allowed.
I'm white. I got you, bro.
Illegally selling water without a permit
on my property.
Whoa! Hey!
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
How about this? White woman in California acts a fool by dogging this man who's Asian, who's writing on his own property. Watch this.
Is this your property? Hi, I'm asking you if this is your property.
Why are you asking?
Because it's private property.
Because it's private property,
So,
sir.
are you defacing private property, or is this your building? You're free to express your
No,
opinions,
we
but not on people's property.
Okay,
absolutely.
Sure.
Just respectfully.
sure.
So we're just saying, absolutely, your signs and everything, and that's good. This is not the way to do it.
Okay.
It's private property.
But if I did live here and it was my property, this would be absolutely fine.
Totally.
And you don't know if I live here or if this is my property.
We actually do know. That's why we're asking.
Oh, really? Because you live here, right? You said so.
Because we know the person who does live here.
Oh, okay.
So
Then
that's all
I
we
suggest
wanted
you
to
call
ask.
him
I'm not
or
disagreeing with
call the
you.
police.
Why
Or
do you wanna call the police?
because
What do you
you're
want me
accusing me
to?
of a crime, correct?
What I'm asking you is why are you
And I'm
doing
not
this?
answering you.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So your choices are to call the cops if you believe I'm calling a crime, and I will more than be happy to talk to him.
Okay, thank you.
What's your name again?
I'm Lisa.
Lisa, what's your last name?
What is your name?
What's your name? I asked
I'm
first,
not
Lisa.
committing a crime,
What's your name, sir?
Robert.
What's your last name, sir?
What is your first name, sir?
I'm not answering. I'm not talking to you. You're talking to me. I'm asking you the questions.
Well, we're not doing anything illegal.
Neither am I.
Yes,
Actually,
you
you
are
are. Because it's
actually.
private
Really?
property.
Oh, okay. Well, then call the cops.
Thank you. We will do so.
Lisa and Robert.
Yeah.
I'll be right here.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Bye. And that, people, is why Black Lives Matter. That's Karen, and she's calling the cops. And this is going to be really funny. Because she knows the people who live here. Personally.
Well, there's a problem. The man who was talking is James Guanillo. He lives there. It was his property. That Karen, she's the CEO of her own cosmetics company. Lisa Alexander, she's the founder and CEO of LaFace Skincare. They have since taken down their website after this video went viral. She issued this apology. There are not enough words to describe how truly sorry I am for being disrespectful to him last Tuesday when I made the decision to question him about what he was doing in front of his home. I should have minded my own business. It's a longer apology, y'all. And she went on to talk about how because he had offered for them to meet for drinks or coffee or lunch or whatever. She says she wants to do that because she wants to learn more because she realized she screwed up. Oh, but it's better. Her husband, Robert. Well, y'all, Robert doesn't have his job anymore. Yeah, that's what happens when you're sitting here married to a Karen and then you want to support your Karen and then things change. Go to my iPad, please. The company Raymond James fires employee who confronted Black Lives Matter demonstrator. Yeah, y'all, that's the deal right there. This is what they said. After an investigation into the circumstances of a video alleging racism by one of our associates, we have concluded that the actions of he and his partner were inconsistent with our values, and the associate is no longer employed with Raymond James. See, y'all, here's the deal, Robert. You thought you were supporting your Karen. Now you don't have a job. See how that works? Now, I would hope Raymond James would promote somebody African-American into Robert's former job. And see, Lisa, she's trying to figure out what in the hell she's now going to do with her cosmetics company because the website is down. See, these things keep happening over and over again because you got some white folks in America who don't know how to mind their own damn business. They, for some reason, want to challenge and step in and question folks. But y'all saw how arrogant she was? Saying, no, we know who lives here. Yo, that was just so gorgeous. Can y'all roll Karen again? I just want to see it for myself again.
Is this your property? Hi, I'm asking you if this is your property.
Why are you asking?
Because
Well,
it's private property.
Because it's private property,
So,
sir.
are you defacing private property or is this your building? You're free to express your
No,
opinions,
we
but
do.
not on people's property.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Sure.
Just respectfully.
sure.
So we're just saying, absolutely, your signs and everything, and that's good. This is not the way to do it.
Okay.
It's private property.
But if I did live here and it was my property, this would be absolutely fine.
Totally.
And you don't know if I live here or if this is my
Actually,
property.
We actually do know. That's
Do
why.
y'all have the
Oh,
Kentucky
really? Because
protest?
you live here, right? You
No,
said so.
because we know the person who does live here.
Oh, okay.
So
Then
that's all
I
we
suggest
wanted to
you
ask,
call
and I'm
him
not
or
disagreeing with
call the
you.
police.
Why do you
Or
wanna call the police?
because
What do you
you're
want
accusing me
to?
of a crime, correct?
What I'm asking you is why are you
And I'm
doing
not
this?
answering you.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So your choices are to call the cops if you believe I'm calling a crime, and I will more than be happy to talk to him.
Okay, thank you.
What's your name again?
I'm Lisa.
Lisa, what's your last name?
What is your name?
What's your name? I asked
I'm
first,
not
Lisa.
committing a crime,
What's your name,
sir.
sir? What's your last name, sir?
What is your first name, sir?
I'm not answering. I'm not talking to you. You're talking to me. I'm asking you the questions.
Well, we're not doing anything illegal.
Neither am I.
Actually, you
you
are.
are
Because it's
actually.
private
Really?
property.
Oh, okay. Well, then call the cops.
Thank you. We will do.
Lisa and Robert.
Yeah.
I'll be right here.
Okay, thank you. So
Bye. And that, people, is why Black Lives Matter.
Woo! Bye, Robert Larkin. You lost your job for being an ass. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Fam, we support black businesses, obviously, so check out these headphones by Seek. Mary Spiel, a sister, she is the designer, the inventor, the creator of these unbelievable great headphones, 360-degree sound 4D headphones. If you do gaming, you can use these headphones. You can actually talk. There's Bluetooth as well. Unbelievable. And so they got a partnership with us, folks, and that is you have a promo code. If you buy these headphones, you get a discount. Go to seek.com and use the promo code right there. You see it, RMVIP 2020. RMVIP 2020. And so we certainly want to thank Mary Spiel and the folks at Seek.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. I do want to do this here. I was trying my best to ignore this. And it really bothers me, Greg, when I see, it really bothers me when I see videos and I see black people who talk loud, speak with conviction, but have no clue what the hell they're talking about. So I came across this video, and many people have sent me this video of this sister trying to read this white woman, trying to drop CVS long receipts on her about how racist Democratic Party is and how black people were all about the Republican Party. And I was going to ignore it. But the reason I can't, Greg, is because I had all these people who were tweeting me saying, oh, she's right, she's right. And that's when I went, okay, now we got a lot of really dumb people who have no clue at all about history. So here's what I'm going to do, y'all. It's 2 minutes and 6 seconds. So we always do one of our great deconstructions. And so normally I do it myself. So this time I'm going to allow the panel to deconstruct it. So y'all just let me know which part you want to deconstruct. Okay, and so and I'm a pull up. Somebody had sent me what this child's name is. I think last name was Battle or something. I'll come across it. So let me just go ahead and play it. So watch this, y'all.
I would be in the same position you're in, so I'm not even mad at you, baby, for feeling like, oh, fake news. This is the thing. I know people don't like Trump. I understand that. But let me tell you something. If I had to pick between him and Joe Biden, I'm not voting in Joe Biden. You want to see a bunch of black people go to jail by the next 4 years? Put Joe Biden in. Watch what happens. You want to see black men get killed substantially? Like you've never seen before, put Joe Biden in and watch what happens. These Democrats, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm not trying to be racist, but they hate black people. These are the same people who fought to keep slavery in. These are the same people who built the KKK. These are the same people who hated us from the beginning. The Republican Party is the party of the blacks. Blacks free, the Republican Party is the only party that the black people actually assisted in finding. But all of that history has been torn away. People say, oh, there was this big switch. There was never a big switch. The Union won because we had grown in the industrial era. So we were able to get trains and get supplies back to our soldiers while the Confederate was still riding horses. They were not able to get the supplies back fast enough, right? So what happened was once slavery was abolished in the South, the people in the South could no longer make their money from slaves. They had to move to the North to work in the industry to produce. And so the people in the North that already had established themselves in the industry moved to the South. And so that's where it was a transfer of people coming from the South to the North and people coming from the North to the South. There was never a big switch. So the same Democrats who hated black people from the beginning are the same ones who hate us now. And they use our cause. How did Black Lives Matter turn into something about LGBTQ? When blacks really don't support that. We're conservative. We're really not about that. Not only that, we don't support abortion. We're about working. This is the black culture. We ain't ever been about that. Not only that, we're not about feminism. No, we're not. Black women marry their husbands and respect their husbands. That's what we on. We're not on this, oh, I do what I want. We don't do that. That's not our community, and you would understand. I know you understand what I'm saying. We don't do that. But yet these people are hijacking our movement, and the Democratic Party, they're trying to hijack our stuff. No.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a portion. I'm going to stop, and then we're going to deconstruct and give you actual facts. Okay? So here we go.
I would be in the same position you're in, so I'm not even mad at you, baby, for feeling like, oh, fake news. This is the thing. I know people don't like Trump. I understand that. But let me tell you something. If I had to pick between him and Joe Biden, I'm not voting in Joe Biden. You want to see a bunch of black people go to jail by the next 4 years? Put Joe Biden in. Watch what happens. You want to see black men get killed substantially? Like you've never seen before, put Joe Biden in and watch what happens. These Democrats, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm not trying to be racist, but they hate black people.
All right. Who would like to take that one first?
I'll take that one.
Go ahead, Reese.
I think it's completely absurd to try to suggest that Joe Biden would be worse for black people than Donald Trump when literally tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are in the streets marching because of black men and women, by the way, getting gunned down. This is the same Donald Trump that looked at the statistics of black people being disproportionately impacted, killed, and infected by COVID-19 and said, it's a black disease, nothing to see here, folks, open up the country. This is the same person that told police officers to violate people's due process. I don't know if you guys remember when he did that rally and he said, oh, rough them up when you arrest them. This is the same person that has a white supremacist Department of Justice who is relaunching their quote unquote war on crime in predominantly black areas that have ended pattern and practices, investigations, civil consent decrees. I could go on and on and on and on. Now, Joe Biden has had some problematic votes in some bills in the past, but it's unquestionable that the white supremacy and white nationalism that we see perpetuated in such a dangerous way by Donald Trump is not only worse than anything we've ever seen from Joe Biden, but he would be even further emboldened for the next 4 years. So what did he say? Joe Clark and Lean On Me? You smoke crack, don't you? You must smoke crack, because that is the only explanation for what she sat up there and said with a straight face.
She also, I think, completely ignores the fact that Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell have put on nearly 200 federal judges, far right wing, who are going to rule against black men who have cases that might come before the federal court and Supreme Court when it comes to death penalty, when it comes to cases along those lines. That's just a fact. Okay, here we go to the next one.
These are the same people who fought to keep slavery in. These are the same people who built the KKK. These are the same people who hated us from the beginning. The Republican Party is the party of the blacks.
Okay, let me leave it right there. I'll take this one. First of all, in the election of 1860, there were 4 candidates. Lincoln ran as the Republican. There were 2 candidates who ran as Democrats. One as the Northern Democratic Party, the other as the Southern Democratic Party. What does that mean? That was a split. There was a split in the Democratic Party in the 1860 presidential election, and Northern Democrats opposed slavery. Southern Democrats supported slavery. So when you hear her say the Democrats backed slavery, she's leaving out that important distinction, folks. There literally were 2 candidates who were running in 1860. And then if you go through history, you still had that taking place. You still had that situation where your Southern Democrats had a particular view, and then your Northern Democrats had another view. Just like if you start going through the election, going through this, you always hear Republicans say, Democrats oppose the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, and they only passed because Republicans. The only problem with that is that there were more Democrats in the United States Senate, and there were more Democrats in the United States House, and actually a majority of Democrats voted for both of those bills. I know, facts be damned. Facts be damned. But I just want to give y'all the name, just so y'all know. Okay? John Breckinridge was the Southern Democratic nominee from Kentucky. Okay? You had Stephen Douglas, who was the Northern Democratic nominee. Lincoln Douglas debates, there you go. That's what you had going on. So when she says that, you kind of can't just say it's all Democrats. You have to make the distinction between Northern and Southern. Anybody else want to add to that? Okay, anybody?
You got it.
We'll play the next one.
Blacks free, the Republican Party is the only party that the black people actually assisted in finding. But all of that history has been torn away. People say, oh, there was this big switch. There was never a big switch.
No, go ahead and play it. Go ahead and play it.
Because we had grown in the industrial era. So we were able to get trains and get supplies back to our soldiers while the Confederate was still riding horses. They were not able to get supplies back fast enough, right? So what happened was once slavery was abolished in the South, the people in the South could no longer make their money from slaves.
Okay, I just gotta go ahead and stop it right there. Can somebody, Greg, why don't you go ahead and explain to people, really, when Lincoln gave the Emancipation Proclamation, that was a military strategic move?
It was. You know, Roland, I'm sitting here listening to the sister, and I mean, you know, I've been teaching over 30 years now, which is hard for me to believe would come out of my mouth. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. She is, as my old dissertation advisor used to say, she's mixing many things.
Whole lot.
Yeah, but there's enough in there to really indicate to me that she's either been sitting in some lectures or surfing YouTube or sat in class and got a few facts that then she mashed all together. So yeah, on the Lincoln question, it's very simple. Abraham Lincoln in September 1862 signed the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, giving the Southern states 4 months to return back to the Union. And if they did, they could have kept their enslaved, because the 4 states that were still in the Union, Maryland, Delaware, Kentucky, and he said, I want God on my side in this war, but I must have Kentucky, and Tennessee, which came back into the Union, had slavery, and the Emancipation Proclamation didn't apply to them, because Lincoln said only states where there is rebellion will this apply. The only Africans Lincoln had a hand in freeing were the Africans of Washington, D.C., and they, in the Compensated Emancipation Act, gave up to $300 per body to the white people who had them enslaved, and then set aside another lump of money and told black people who were now free, if y'all want to go to Haiti or Liberia somewhere, we'll pay for you to leave. Because Lincoln, as our dear brother Lerone Bennett
yep,
was forced into glory. So, I mean, yeah, it was a war measure. He was trying to win the war. But when the sister says, you know, about the movements and the migration patterns, and in a minute she's going to talk about the railroads, you know, what I hear is somebody who has, you know, seen something somewhere, internalized a little bit of knowledge, but maybe forgot the part where one of the things that General Sherman did in his march to the sea was tear up all the railroad lines. That's why Atlanta is jacked up today in downtown Atlanta, because it was never supposed to be the city that it is. It was just a railroad junction. And apparently they mapped out all the streets in downtown Atlanta on the old trails, which is why you can't go nowhere. But the idea is the railroads hadn't come into existence by the mid-19th century. However, and again, trying to disentangle, and I'll stop with this because there's many more things we could talk about. The GOP was the party of business, then and now. Enslavement was something that they made a kind of calculation that says not necessarily profitable for us. But after the Civil War, you had what some people call them the carpetbaggers, some people call it the invasion of the South, by these same business interests who engaged in a truce with the old plantocracy to basically sacrifice the black people of the South, who had founded the Republican Party. She had that part right, but after that, she lost her damn mind. The Republican Party in the South, as Du Bois says, was an African idea, in part because that was the party that we used to seize political power. Once the objectives of the North had been achieved, they reconciled with the South. This is the abandonment of the South that comes after 1877 with the rise of Jim Crow. We see what happened in 1898 in Wilmington, North Carolina, where they broke apart that fusion coalition that Reverend Barber talks about. And in the wake of that betrayal of black people in the 19th century, what you then see is the rise of lily white republicanism in the North, and the whites already have their Democratic Party, which is the party of white supremacy. So if the sister had paid a little bit more attention in class, she would have then seen that the only way Africans could crack political power in the South was to go into court, including a brother who helped revive Juneteenth in the 1930s in Dallas, in your home state, Antonio Maceo Smith, the same Smith of Smith versus All Right, the same Smith who helped gather plaintiffs for Sweat versus Painter. Once they cracked that white primary in the South, the Democrats then, recognizing that they're going to have their party now invaded by the blacks, slowly made the turn to the Republican Party. It took them 30 years. But it begins with the manifesto of 1957, where Strom Thurmond, Democrat, where all these Democrats say we are segregationists or Dixiecrats. But the children of the Strom Thurmonds and the Jesse Helms and them went to the Republican Party. Kevin Phillips, Pat Buchanan, the whole Southern strategy. If the sister had spent one more week in class, she'd have closed that loop. No, because she's got some of this stuff. Right. She'd have mashed it all up together. I was hoping, but you know, right sentiment, two facts, but you need a few more letters in that alphabet to spell the words you need to articulate what you feel in your heart, but haven't quite gotten to work out because you don't have all the facts. But come on back to class.
And then when she said about the gray switch, I'm just going to play this and come right back. Here we go.
They had to move to the North to work in the industry to produce. And so the people in the North that already had established themselves in the industry moved to the South. And so that's where it was a transfer of people coming from the South to the North and people coming from the North to the South. There was never a big switch. So the same Democrats who hated black people from the beginning are the same ones who hate us now. And they use our...
Okay, so I just got, because see, that's just beyond stupid. First of all, folks from the South didn't move north. And folks from the North did not move south. What she doesn't understand is that after Lincoln gets killed, Jackson is restoring the land to many of those Southern plantation owners. When they came into the Union, they were like, okay, cool, we can give you your land back. There were many radical Republicans who opposed that, saying, why are we going to give them the land back? So they were restored. They didn't move. They didn't go anywhere. And also, the great transfer, it actually did happen, beginning at the end of World War I and then World War II, where white folks stayed, black folks left. They begin the book. Baby, go please read Robert Abbott and the Chicago Defender and the Great Migration. Please go read about the greatest population transfer from the South to the North, where black folks, where it was so bad that white folks in the South literally would not even let black people read the Chicago Defender for fear that they would wake up tomorrow and black folks would be gone. That actually happened. Then when she says the Democrats, they are the same ones today. Oh my God, please. I hate to call people dumb, but that's dumb. If you have no understanding that people like Ida B. Wells Barnett actually were supporting Herbert Hoover when he ran for president, even though he was leading the Lily White faction. And then what began to happen after he became president, and then black people saw how racist he was, they began to have an ambivalence about it. In fact, the Republican Party was called what, Greg? The Great Ship? It was a phrase.
That's right. All else is the open sea, brother. Frederick Douglass.
Okay, I need y'all to read. Need y'all to read, please. If you're gonna go stand in front of some white woman and wave your finger, have your damn facts straight. And so what then began to happen was Republican Herbert Hoover, Lily White Party. Then what follows that? Woodrow Wilson, one of the most racist presidents in American history, Democrat, who comes in, and then you have, guess who's coming in? FDR, who was not necessarily a friend of black people, but he also understood the Great Depression. His economic policies, listen to me, y'all. FDR was not the great emancipator, but his economic policies were what appealed to black people. And then you begin to see the shift of voters. In 1956, Eisenhower got a substantial number of black voters because they were still Republicans because of Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation, because the National Democratic Party was being controlled by Southern Democrats. 1948, the Southern Manifesto, when the Democrats met where in Mississippi. We reintroduced the Confederate flag as a part of their whole deal because the Democrats put a very small civil rights item in their plank. The white Southern Democrats got mad. Strom Thurmond was their leader. Baby, I need you to read. 1960, you have JFK versus Nixon. Significant number of blacks supporting Nixon. Guess what happened? You had people like Jackie Robinson who were begging Richard Nixon, stop saying privately you support black people, but you won't say it publicly. And then, of course, Dr. King gets arrested. He's there in Albany. I'm sorry, what is it, Erica? Albany? Is that what it is?
It is Albany.
Okay, all right, because, I had somebody else say, that's not how we pronounce it. Fine. So he gets it thrown in jail. JFK places a call to Coretta Scott King. King gets released. Then, of course, you have Louis Martin working for the Democratic Party. They use major mail-outs, put out a special black newspaper. Black folks shift to go to Kennedy. Then 1964. Then you have what? Barry Goldwater, senator from Arizona, opposing the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Black people, including Jackie Robinson and other black Republicans, said, no way in hell we supporting this. They supported LBJ. That's when the switch happened. And then 1968, Nixon saw the opening, began to appeal to those Southern Democrats. And then all of a sudden, those folks begin to shift. Then 72, then 76, then Reagan appeals to them. He opens his campaign near Philadelphia, Mississippi, where Cheney, Schwerner, and Goodman were killed. Then you have the Republican Party. That's why, sister, today, what's the party defending Confederate statues? Republicans in Alabama, in Mississippi, in Tennessee, in North Carolina, in Texas, in Congress. What the hell are you talking about? Please.
Well,
Don't.
I think she has I think part of the challenge is that in terms of.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say very quickly, there is a sentiment that there isn't a difference between Republicans and Democrats. We know that's not true. But both parties operate in a field of violence against black people.
Right.
And so, she's the feeling she has, as Erica said, ignorance can be cured. Ignorance can be cured by a little bit of study and dialogue. I think there's a way to pull her back from it. But if we had been standing there, we could have dispatched with the entire and asked her a simple question. Today, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 in DACA. Do you really want to roll the dice in a minute in another Republican administration and they can get a couple more votes and take away or try to take away everything? See, sometimes we just haven't. She's trying to win an argument with the white lady, so she just got rolling.
And let's be real clear here. My whole deal is like I've never self-identified as a Democrat or Republican. The party I'm in, the one called Truth. And so if you're going to speak truth, speak truth, but don't just make stuff up. Last part here, I know Erica and Reese have been waiting to deal with this last part, but again, ooh, Lord, y'all, go on.
Turn into something about LGBTQ when blacks really don't support that. We're conservative. We're really not about that. Not only that, we don't support abortion. We're about working. This is the black culture. We ain't never been about that. Not only that, we're not about feminism. No, we're not. Black women marry their husbands and respect their husbands. That's what we on. We're not on this, I do what I want. We don't do that. That's not our community, and you would understand. I know you understand what I'm saying. We don't do that. But yet these people are hijacking our movement, the Democratic Party, they're trying to hijack our stuff. No.
Okay, I heard we don't support LGBT. I heard we don't support abortion, and we don't support feminism. Reese and Erica, I know Ella Baker is like, I'm sorry, excuse me? I know Fan Lou Hamer and Septima Clark and Diane Nash and Constance Baker Motley are like, really? We don't support feminism? I think Merle Evers Williams and Daisy Bates, them sisters were real clear about black women. But y'all weigh in on just the last part what she just said. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to invoke the name of the late Fannie Lou Hamer that departed this life in March of 1977. And just, the late Ralph Ellison said something, and I think about it quite often, that there are few people in the world as dangerous as sleepwalkers. This sister is sleep, and that is the danger of speaking and talking in sound bites. When we're talking about reproductive health and we're thinking about how that impacts black women, particularly at a much higher weight, there's no way in hell that you can't say that we're not a part of that. When we're talking about the important decision that came down from the Supreme Court around LGBTQ, we look at that entire movement and I see black people, I see Stonewall, I see black people. We were people that shepherded change into these most profound movements. I think about even just going further when we're thinking about science. I think about Henrietta Lacks. And so when we hear people that are kind of like spewing and talking about messaging that they've heard from different platforms that aren't steeped in history, the history that you walked us through, the history that Dr. Carr walked us through, that is the danger when people enter political conversations and they don't enter these conversations with context to think about how Ronald Reagan influenced a huge 2 or 3 generations, and that he, as an actor himself, you all talked about going to Philadelphia, and the way that he connected with those folks in Philadelphia, Mississippi, was talking about states' rights. And here we are talking about states who reopened prematurely, and because 37% of the black population lives in the South, look at who are the people who are going to be most impacted by coronavirus. And so that is, again, the danger of folks just talking without really having had set with knowledge. Google is real free, but books are a beautiful companion to Google.
And Reese, yes, you can say we're conservative, but the reality is this whole notion that black people are homophobic, white folks been homophobic for a long time. So it's not like, but the other pieces is here, the same black people may have that particular view, but they'll read James Baldwin. They'll read Langston Hughes. They'll read, I mean, they'll say, I mean, we can go on and on and on. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think what's just very disturbing is I've encountered this mentality. What we have is we have a whole almost, I hate to use this word, but almost radicalized faction of black people who get these ideas that are completely ignorant and misinformed and ahistorical from these YouTube kind of, scam artists, these grifters that sound exactly like this woman. And they just spew all this bullshit and they get the clicks, and then they continue to build this thing, and then they become incredibly belligerently ignorant about it. I actually don't believe that she would be one of those people that you could reach. If you had tried to have a reasoned conversation with her and you told her all those things, you would be every kind of black racial slur. I'm not going to repeat it on the show, Roland, but you can use your imagination, because I know they call you butter biscuits and all kind of stuff. I've seen the way that they actually tried to talk about black people who were actually informed and saying the facts. And so that's what's really scary. And to what Dr. Carr said, a little bit of information is dangerous. So, and to what Erica said, Google, to be honest, Google can also be dangerous because you can put in any search in any kind of way and get the information that you want back.
Right. And that's the real deal. And so again, the reason I chose to deconstruct that is because I was seeing too many people who like, well, you know, she right. And I'll go, I'm sorry, about which part? Like, could you please narrow it down? Because it's very narrow. And the danger, see, again, that's a 2-minute and 6-second clip. Somebody will say, well, yeah, but, you know, y'all spent, 25 minutes on this. There's a reason. Because you can spread a whole lot of lies in 2 minutes and 6 seconds, and it takes 30 minutes to unpack that level of lies. And this is important because I look at PragerU, where Candace Owens has her little show. Let me help y'all out. And this is why I keep telling black people with money, they need to understand what's going on. PragerU raised $22 million their first year. Billionaire Republicans gave them $7 million in seed capital. They raised $25 million their second year. They've already hit 1 billion views on YouTube. They are purposely using short content to reach the next generation of all these white kids. And so the reason why this show matters, and the reason why we do this, is because we have to counter the ignorance that you're hearing from black people. Let me be clear. There are black people who can talk very well, who with conviction, who are emphatic, who are passionate, who are wrong. And again, we can argue about a position. We can argue about Biden or Trump. We can argue about policies. We can argue whether or not Senator Kamala Harris's proposals are better than Senator Elizabeth Warren's proposals. But what we're not going to do, I'm not going to play the game, is allow folk to sit here and just say stuff, and then folk, man, did you hear that, sister? And again, I don't know if she's conservative or liberal. I don't know any of that. It doesn't even matter to me. What I do know is nearly everything she said was wrong.
Exactly.
And that, for me, is a problem, y'all. That's a problem.
Ron, help me, y'all. How do we reach folk like that? And I'm saying that because I'm sure y'all been seeing it on social media this week. There's this back and forth between people who are identifying with J. Cole and young people who are identifying with No Name, the sister out of Chicago. And J. Cole is saying, I haven't read much, I haven't studied, but I've been out in the street, and you shouldn't approach me because, No Name has this book club. Her mother actually had a bookstore in Chicago for many years. And so the new iteration of it is these meetups where they discuss books and they talk. Right. But what J. Cole is saying is that, yeah, I'm for that, but don't make me feel like I don't know anything just because what I know isn't what you know. It doesn't mean what I know doesn't count. Right. And I guess what I'm trying to reach is that in that last piece we just deconstructed. I have a colleague, Valethia Watkins Beatty, who's written about this a lot over the last 20 years. The idea of feminism. I remember Angela Davis saying this. They said, Angela Davis first said, they called me a feminist. I said, I'm not a feminist. And then I began to think about it, and I said, there's a form of bourgeois feminism, that's affiliated with white women. And then some people say, well, no, it's not feminist, it's womanist. It's like, no, there's a real raging debate around it. But I'm saying some of this is social class. So deeper down the class structure, that handful of black people who voted for Trump, some of them are those religious conservatives that are anti-choice. You ask that are women subvert to your husband. But I'm saying there's also the tolerance in black community formations, which say, I'm not gay, but I support you, whoever you are. I mean, it's complicated. How do we reach those people?
Easy. You have to utilize this platform to do it. And again, you look at what the right is doing. They are purposely funding independent media platforms to purposely drive that information. The problem, our black platforms are spending more time on gossip and entertainment and fashion and makeup and who's so-and-so dating and who broke up. That's the problem. And so we don't have information sources. We have gossip and entertainment sources, and that's the difference. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. Seek.com folks. So we got their headsets. Mary Spio, she, of course, is the founder, the creator, the designer of these headphones. The 360-degree 4D headphones. Amazing sound. Gamers love them. Of course, I love music, and so it's great to listen to this wonderful sound that really travels around your entire head. That's why I love them the most. Plus, they're black and gold, being an alpha, I'm just saying. If you want to get the headphones, all you got to do is go to seek.com, 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 and just simply use the promo code RMVIP2020. You see it right there. RMVIP2020 at seek.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Girl, no charcoal grills are allowed.
I'm white. I got you, huh?
Illegally selling water without a permit
On my property.
Whoa! Hey!
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
In Torrance, California, this crazy-ass white woman is being nominated for Karen of the Year.
Hey, listen to me. We don't play games here anymore, okay? Next time you ever talk to me like that, you're gonna get your ass kicked by my family. They're gonna fuck you up.
What did I do?
Right. They're gonna fuck you
Why?
up.
What did I do?
Because you are an asshole. Look at the whole stairs to
But
yourself.
you had these
Why
stairs
don't
and
you go
that
somewhere
stairs.
else where you can go to a gym? This is not just for you.
Oh, you
Get
need
the fuck out of this world. Get the fuck out of this state. Go back to whatever fucking Asian country you belong in.
Okay,
You little
racist.
fucking bitch. This is not your place. This is not your home. We do not want you here. You put that on Facebook. I hope you do. Because every fucking person will beat the crap out of you from here on out. Don't you ever say, oh, Jesus, to me when I want to use the stairs, you little bitch.
There's other stairs.
You are a sick, fucking, ignorant teenager.
Oh, thank
wait,
you.
you're fucking what, middle-aged woman? Who wears black in California sun? Who the fuck wears black? Are you an idiot? You wear black in California sun? Seriously?
Risha, that woman was a little bit more calmer than my ass would have been with Karen cussing me out like that.
They know. I've heard a statement, and I believe that white people started it, but it's monkey know which tree to climb, and they know who to try and who not to try. Because I wouldn't have picked up the camera because I need to set up, you know how some people do, I won't say white folks, but you know how some people set up their pre-checks and their calls? It would have been all, don't hit me, don't attack me, and I would have been wearing her ass out. Listen. You can carry a phone or you can carry some mace. If you ain't got hands, guess what? Then you need to be walking around with some mace. And as soon as these folks come into your face, shh, mace them all up in the face. Get them all out your space. It's a threat. She was all up in that woman's face with COVID-19. She ain't have no mask on. She was going off. Oh, no, it would have been some, I don't want to say violence, but it would have been a different kind of exchange where she understood I'm not the one.
Erica?
This is my mace, and so I am very well trained. And I agree with Reese. I believe that those folks know or believe that they know who it is that they can run up on. Definitely can't be a sister. And we're starting to see this really as white people are beginning to lose their mind because they're understanding the power that they believe that they once held, the spell that folks were under disbelief of their power. They're seeing that is going away, and they're seeing that that authority that protected them via law enforcement is being challenged as well. So we'll continue to see more of these recorded incidents, but be very clear. You run up on a sister, especially this one with locks, your mace is going to feel real different.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Company 360-degree headphones, 4D. Gamers love them. I love them with music. Of course, you can even talk on them. They're Bluetooth. Just great set of headphones. We have a great partnership with them. If you go to seek.com, CEEK.com, use this promo code RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020, for you to be able to check these, to get these headphones. And so, yeah, real cool. They're great. So if y'all going to be out there and you're buying JBL and Bose and the rest of these companies, hey, you might as well support a black-owned company with these headphones. Seek.com, CEEK.com. And again, promo code is RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Folks, in a recent article for The Nation, Justice correspondent Ellie Vista wrote, the United States needs to be treated like the racist pariah state that it is. He joins us right now. Ellie, what's up?
That was a heck of a time, wasn't it?
Yeah, you sort of
like that.
Just cut right to the chase here. So it's interesting because Senator Tim Scott the other day said that, that he doesn't believe in systemic racism in America, but he said there are pockets of racism in America.
Yeah, he's wrong. I think he knows he's wrong in his heart. Of course, this country experiences systemic racism. This is a racist country. I don't see no honest person, I don't think, can look at how this country operates and how it's operated for 400 years.
Hold on 1 second, Ellie. Ellie, hold on. There's like a huge clicking sound as you talk. It's like a constant clicking. Okay, so it might be your headphones. So let's just do this here.
All right, sorry. This a little bit better?
No, it's still clicking. It's still clicking. So all right, so I have no idea why is that clicking. So let's do this here. Are you talking through the Bluetooth on the headphones?
I am not. I am talking through my mic, my computer mic.
Okay, so let's do this.
Usually works.
All right, guys, let me know what we should do. How about you take the headphones off and talk, and let me see if that fixes the problem. Let's go ahead and talk, because I want to make sure that we hear you. Now go ahead and talk.
All right. Can you hear me?
Clicking has gone away. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just can't. Now the problem is that I can't hear you very well.
Oh, don't worry about it. You just talk. So do this here. Okay, do this here. You go ahead and talk, and then when you finish talking, I'll ask you the next question.
All right, let's do that. Okay, so.
Hold on, that's that's better right there. That's whatever you just did there. That's better.
My point for the article was.
Go ahead.
For the article was simple. I was trying to really hone in on the fact that the world has seen this kind of country before, right? We are not the first racist country. We unfortunately will not be the last racist country. The world, when it realizes that a country has really kind of like gone, fallen away from the pack, the world tends to have a response to that. We saw it with South Africa, right? We saw it in most of our lifetimes. We saw the international moral suasion brought to bear on the racist apartheid state of South Africa. South Africa is free now, mainly because of the tireless work of Black South Africans who refuse to let their dignity be stripped from them. But it's also because of the moral suasion of the international community. It's also because South Africa was banned from the damn Olympics, right? Also because South Africa was economically divested from. It's also because people boycotted companies who did business in South Africa. And at a moment where we see George Floyd, Black Lives Matter protests springing up, sparking up all over the world, if the world gets to the point where it's willing to divest from America the way the world was once willing to divest from South Africa, that's the special sauce. That could be the nitro to the Black Lives Matter movement really getting structural change happening in this country.
Well, So that particular point is important, and the problem is, in fact, in just a moment, the next guest, I'm going to talk about how the United States has used back channels to get these African nations to back off of their call for the UN's top human rights body to launch a scrutiny to the United States. Here's the reality. In this country, we want everybody else to get their stuff together, but America has never liked when somebody looked at us. I remember when one of the Chinese presidents came here and he met with President George W. Bush, and he was highly critical of race in the United States. He basically was saying, how in the hell y'all gonna call us out for our human rights violations when how you treated black folks for all of these years in America?
One of the big differences, I think, with Donald Trump is that he has pulled back the curtain on just how racist this country is. Previous presidents, certainly all the presidents in my lifetime, and I think you can go all the way back pretty much to Eisenhower with this. They talked the good game on the international stage. You could make a case that most of our presidents have been racist at some level, but when they talk on the international stage, they talk about freedom, they talk about healing, they talk about togetherness. They hold America up as this beacon. If you go around the world, there are, Africans, black people around the world who think that America is the place where you can have your best shot, where you can have your most honest chance at success. Black Americans know that ain't true. Black Americans know what this country's about. Black Americans know what this country does to us and our children, the kind of racism and brutality that our people face. But American presidents never show that face to the world. Donald Trump shows that face. You cannot be a world citizen. You cannot watch the BBC and miss the fact that the American president is an idiot, is a bigot, and right now, currently, is threatening to turn the world's most lethal military against his own people. We know what the world thinks about people who gas their own people, right? That is the line that Donald Trump is getting very close to. And so I think that when you see what Trump is really about, and the fact that he still fundamentally has the support of a majority of white Americans, that makes us look, I think, very different on the world stage.
And on that particular point, I think that, again, this is the problem this country has. America did not want Malcolm X to go to the United Nations to confront racism. Then you had Avery Brundage, an absolute racist, who was just so offended at Tommy Smith and John Carlos, expelled them from the Olympic Games and sent them home because they dared to actually raise their fists and take off their shoes on that gold medal stand. And that has been part of the deal here. Mark Thiessen writes a column today in the Washington Post saying, it's smart for Trump to go to Tulsa in his outreach to blacks. And I responded on Twitter. I said, first of all, how in the hell are you having an outreach to blacks by giving a speech in Tulsa on tomorrow in an auditorium full of white folks? Donald Trump ain't talking to black people. Donald Trump is talking to white people.
Except for the ones he paid for on Craigslist. Trump is a ridiculous anathema. And just to go back to the Mary Elizabeth Taylor woman from your previous segment, one of the reasons why I respect what she did is that she's a young person. She's a young person, and young people have a lot to lose in this economy because we are about to hit a recession. Right, we are already in a recession. That's going to be the story kind of going forward. And one thing that we know during recessions is that black people get it worse. We're the first ones fired. We're the last ones rehired. All these corporations talking about making Juneteenth, contributions to people. I wish they would give some jobs to people. I wish they would commit to protecting African American jobs in this coming round of layoffs that we're going to see all across the country. But I tie that through to Donald Trump's speech because while he talks about black unemployment all the time as if he did something about that, those are Obama's accomplishments that he is I don't want to say wearing blackface, but he's putting on Obama's accomplishments on his own skin. He never talks about any kind of economic protection from black people from the store.
But here's the deal, though. Black unemployment, it went down to its lowest, but what you will not hear him say is that it has gone up every month since October. Before coronavirus. They don't want to talk about that.
Never, right? So it's all interconnected. Trump does not have an agenda for the African American community. He never has. The Republicans don't have an agenda for the African American community. Republicans long ago stopped trying to persuade me to vote for them and started trying simply to suppress my vote, right? Like that is the game on that side of the aisle. And that's why just no matter what, like whenever we talk about black liberation and black emancipation, whenever we talk about police violence and police brutality, to me, it all comes back, you have to vote. You have to vote in your local elections. I live in New York. New York has a primary on Tuesday. There are local candidates who care about these issues, and there are local candidates who don't. And you have to know the difference, and you have to vote like that. If people voted in local primaries and local elections like they vote in presidential elections, our entire daily lives would be different. And then if everybody voted in the presidential election, people like Trump could never win. And so we have to remember that, and everything we do has to be tied into some reminder that people need to go and vote and use this franchise that so many of our people fought and died for.
Ellie Mistel with The Nation. We surely appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Seek.com, folks. So we got their headsets. Mary Spio, she, of course, is the founder, the creator, designer of these headphones. The 360-degree 4D headphones. Amazing sound. Gamers love them. Of course, I love music, and so it's great to listen to this wonderful sound that really travels around your entire head. That's why I love them the most. Plus, they're black and gold, being an alpha, I'm just saying. If you want to get the headphones, all you got to do is go to Seek.com, 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 and just simply use the promo code RMVIP2020. You see it right there. RMVIP2020 at Seek.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Avis, I saw another story today where a 911 dispatcher was so shocked by what they were seeing with George Floyd, they immediately called a supervisor to be dispatched to the scene.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that there was someone in the entire system that gave a damn, okay? Because what happened with Mr. Floyd was just absolutely atrocious. I know I just saw recently a new video that is of a separate person who apparently they came up after Mr. Floyd was dead, and it showed how long his murderer still sat there on his neck with his hands in his pocket.
And in fact, I'm going to read this here. It says a 911 dispatcher, go to my iPad, please, watching real-time footage of George Floyd's arrest in South Minneapolis was so alarmed by police officers' actions that she called a supervisor who did not immediately respond to the scene, according to a newly released phone recording. The recordings of a phone conversation between the unidentified dispatcher and a Minneapolis police supervisor were released on Monday on the city's website. They raised more questions. This is what the quote said. "I don't know. You can call me a snitch if you want to, but we have the cameras up for Squad's 320's call. And I don't know if they had to use force or not, but they got something out of the back of the squad and all of them sat on this man. So I don't know if they needed you or not, but they haven't said anything to me yet. Yeah, they haven't said anything yet, just a takedown, which doesn't count, but I'll find out. The supervisor responded, no problem. We don't ever get to see it. So when we see it, we're just like, well, that looks a little bit different. But the dispatcher said, sounds good. Bye.
Wow. My goodness. They knew it was wrong. And then it sounds like the supervisor was like, oh, well, you know, that whole department just needs to be cleaned out. Everybody needs to be fired, and they just need to start all over. That's ridiculous.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Fam, we support Black-owned businesses, obviously, so check out these headphones by Seek. Mary Spiel, her sister, she is the designer, the inventor, the creator of these unbelievable great headphones, 360-degree sound 4D headphones. If you do gaming, you can use these headphones. You can actually talk. There's Bluetooth as well. Unbelievable. And so they got a partnership with us, folks, and that is you have a promo code. If you buy these headphones, you get a discount. Go to Seek.com and use the promo code right there. You see it, RMVIP 2020. RMVIP 2020. And so we certainly want to thank Mary Spiel and the folks at Seek.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. When city Republicans unveiled their proposal to reform law enforcement in the United States in response to the national protest following the death of George Floyd. Now, the proposal, called the Justice Act, includes incentives for police departments to ban chokeholds, but does not end them. More disclosure requirements about the use of force and no-knock warrants, but doesn't end them. And penalties for false reports. It also includes emergency grant programs for body cameras, makes lynching a federal hate crime, and creates a commission to study the conditions facing black men and boys. The person who led the Republican effort is Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina, the only black Republican in the United States Senate. And so that's what he announced today. The news conference today, of course, there were a number of things that were talked about there. He made it clear that ending police immunity was not one of those things. Qualified immunity, that is an issue that many people have been raising. Democrats in the House have been raising. So what you now have is two bills that are going on at the same time. You have, of course, the Democrats' bill in the House, and then you have the Republican bill in the Senate. Now, we already know that Mitch McConnell has made perfectly clear he is not going to bring up the Democrat bill. What he wants to do is he wants to actually force a situation where Democrats in the Senate actually will vote against that particular bill. That's what he wants to do. Now, again, earlier today, Tim Scott took to the floor of the United States Senate to speak about this particular Justice Act. This is what he had to say.
Has some stuff they need to hear. And if we do that, we'll have the votes to have a real debate next week on this bill. But if we don't do that, we'll just talk about scoring political points, and you'll go on MSNBC or CNN, we'll go on Fox, and everybody will have their chatter, and more people in the communities of color will have less confidence in the institutions of power and authority in this nation because we missed the moment. We missed it 5 years ago. We don't have to miss it now. Mr. President, as you know, I am not really into theatrics. I don't run towards microphones. I've had a lot of them this last 7 days. I don't talk a lot in conference because why say what other people are saying, and they probably said it better. I don't demonize the other side because I know that in order to get anything done in this conference, in this committee, in this Senate, you got to have 60 votes. And plus, if you have a grievance with your brother, Talk to them. Talk to them. I've tried to do that. Mr. President, as I'm sure I've run over my time, let me just say that to the families I sat down with yesterday, they don't think working on body cameras is a token experience. They don't think sitting down with the President of the United States with their tears filling their eyes, running down their cheeks, talking about their lost loved ones is a token experience. The law enforcement officers in that meeting with those families do not believe that having a serious conversation about police reform is a token experience. They don't believe that co-responders for the one man who was in the room whose son was having a mental episode, who was shot on the scene, he doesn't think this is a token experience.
Joining us right now is Reddit Hudson, founder of the National Coalition of Law Enforcement Officers for Justice, Reform, and Accountability, and Dr. DeLacy Davis, founder of Black Cops Against Police Brutality. All right, first off, Reddit, I want to start with you. Your assessment of this bill presented by Senator Tim Scott. He says it's a strong bill.
Almost worked, man. And in the context of police culture and police behavior, you can't incentivize good behavior. You have to punish bad behavior. We've tried that over and over again. Here in Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, where racial profiling statistics come out every year, and they're horrific every year. They threaten to take away state funding. They threaten to take away any number of funding sources from offending departments. They just don't give a damn. It really is unfortunate for him to describe a moment and then miss it so hugely as he has in this instance. What he needs to do is understand that there is a remake that needs to take place right now. We can't tinker around the edges, which is what he's trying to do, and describe that as some kind of significant institutional change. And for him to describe restoring trust in our institutions, this falls way short of that. We have to have a serious remake of our entire criminal justice response, our entire public safety response, and it doesn't involve trying to bribe some officers not to devalue Black life.
DeLacy.
Yes, well, you know, when we give children candy to make them comply, it usually doesn't work. They simply want more candy. And so I looked at the bill, I watched the press conference. They talked about training, duty to intervene, data collection with the database at the local level, and then a National Criminal Justice Commission. First of all, we've had the Kerner Commission, we've had the Mullen Commission, and then we had the Task Force on 21st Century Policing, which is relevant and there in place. So there's no need for another commission. Second of all, the data collection. What are we collecting data on? We're seeing Black bodies laying all over the street. And finally, the duty to intervene. Let's be very clear. In 2016, they had already revised the use of force policy in Minneapolis. In fact, the officers all there with Mr. Floyd had a duty to intervene, and none of them intervened. And then finally, training. How do you untrain the racists? How do you take the racist and white supremacist culture out of policing and somehow get a good cop? It's a horrible bill. It does not reform police. It is not accounting for anything, and it's not transparent. It does nothing.
The fact, Reddit, that it does not ban chokehold. First of all, let's guys figure out. Let me know what's up with this microphone because I'm keep hearing this microphone that's moving. So please let me know. Tell me what's going on with no banning of chokeholds, no ban when it comes to no-knock warrants. In fact, earlier I saw this MSNBC graphic that laid it out, and it was kind of like, okay, so we hope they change. Yesterday, we had former Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, the LAPD, where the cop said, "Oh no, that wasn't a chokehold against Eric Garner. I think she said that was like an upper body seatbelt type restraint." I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they've said.
Yeah. It is utter madness, and you nailed it, Roland. You hit it on the head. What they're doing is positioning themselves. As much as Tim Scott tried to decry the political aspects of this and say that it shouldn't be politicized, that's exactly what they're doing. When they introduce a bill like this, as you said, what they're looking to do is get a no vote on it from people who are more serious about addressing the real issues that face us as a nation right now, when we have a real opportunity to eradicate institutional racism and police culture and do it through legislation and movement and work on the ground. Combined together, we can get that thing done. But with senators like Tim Scott doing the appeasement dance with police unions and the other folks who were surrounding Donald Trump when he signed that wonderful executive order that he put out yesterday or the day before, this is what you get. Ineffectual legislation that does nothing more than give them something to talk about, claiming they're making a real effort to address systemic issues. He couldn't even acknowledge. I mean, I was floored. A good friend of ours, Reverend William Barber, said he was speechless when Senator Scott said that there is no systemic racism in the country, and it's not a racist country. When you're living that far away from reality, I don't expect you to be effective on real problems.
No ending of qualified immunity in Senator Scott's bill, DeLacy. That is the case in the Democrats' bill. Democrats' bill, no new funding. Republicans, more funding in their particular bill as well. If you don't deal with qualified immunity, can you actually deal with the issue?
Absolutely not, because you can't get inside of a police officer's head when he or she says, I was in fear of losing my life. What are you going to say, that they're not in fear? You can't argue that point. It's a point that won't be argued. We know that the courts have extended qualified immunity to include police because that was not its original intent. I listened to Senator Shelley Moore Capito, and she said that this bill was pro-civil rights and pro-law enforcement, and there's no conflict. Well, therein tells you everything, because if law enforcement is killing me, black and brown people, and leaving me dead in the street, and you're telling me this is pro-civil rights, it is inherently conflicted in the fact that they can't call it what it is. They can't talk about institutionalized racism. The fact that they want to continue to study what their answer is, we want to put more money in for more police on the street, which is problematic. And the other side, and the community is saying, we want to defund the police, reallocate those resources, because the community is suffering when they call the police. So the people who are most vulnerable, fragile communities, and those in need of law enforcement are actually being told now in this bill, we're going to send you more cops, and that means you're going to be exposed to being killed more frequently.
DeLacy Davis, Reddit Hudson. Gentlemen, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Let's go to our panel. Scott Bolden, your assessment of this Senator Tim Scott bill.
They're just not serious. They are not serious because they believe that the police are fundamentally good and that the bad apples are poisoning the reputation of these police officers, and that they need their political support and votes from white conservatives and whites in rural areas who believe that the police come to protect and serve, and that the police are basically good. They just have hit a rash of unintended consequences of using deadly force. Just not the case. If you look at the Democratic bill says enough is enough, and these are the changes we need to make. The police don't deserve these protections. And so at some point in time, these two bills could come together, but the fundamental premise of each bill is so far apart that you're not going to get resolution until you believe that Black Lives Matter. That if you are complicit in bad policing, then you are a bad police officer. If you don't change the standard from reasonable force to necessary force, you're not going to stop these shootings. And if you don't put money into training and evaluating who you're giving guns and badges to, then you're not going to get to the root cause of this. These are black and white and brown police officers who have this mentality. And how about annual training or annual evaluation as to whether you are a racist or whether you believe you're in combat against those on the street, the public, when you go to the black community or brown community? How about testing for that? Because you shouldn't have a gun and a badge and use deadly force simply because you don't have cooperation from a black man or brown man or woman on the street. This is nuts. You see, these killings are going to keep going on. See, after George Floyd, you'd have more killing. You've had white people abused with peaceful protesters, haven't you? Something is wrong. They don't care. It's not stopping because of the protest. You're going to take legislation. You need that. But you also need to reevaluate how you're evaluating police officers before giving them a gun and a badge. It's twofold. You got to do both of them. And if you don't do both, the killing fields of Chicago, Atlanta, D.C., New York, of black men by police is not going to stop.
Bottom line is, Robert, again, what people want is they want change. And what Donald Trump has made clear, he does not want a bill that law enforcement does not endorse. Law enforcement is not going to endorse banning a chokehold, ending qualified immunity. They're not going to simply endorse those.
Oh, well, look, Tim Scott has been put in an all but impossible position. He's in charge of drafting a bill, a compromise bill, that can get 60 votes in the United States Senate. Right now, there are probably 500 bills sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk that have come over from the House of Representatives that he's never brought up to a vote. Environmental regulations, health and safety regulations, all sorts of things that we need as a nation. Tim Scott is trying to draft something that he believes can pass and can go into law. So the question is, where do you make the compromises at? Where do you go? What can we offer? What can be created where we can get something that can actually pass and be signed into law and move us incrementally into the direction of ending these practices? What we know is 5 years ago, when these things started, you got an absolutely zero Republican response or zero Republican votes on this. 3 years ago, Donald Trump was saying, drag that SOB off the field with regards to NFL players who are kneeling. So the fact that now we are even having the conversation and getting some form of legislation, I think that is a beginning point to jump off from. So instead of us hopping on Tim Scott, let's find out how can we make his bill better? How can we bring in more elements of the House bill and still get the 60 votes we need for it to pass? Otherwise, we, as Tim Scott
But why
said,
are we moving incrementally then, Robert? Why are we moving incrementally?
We're moving incrementally because you have a Tea Party
over the last 400 years, and you want to move incrementally? Stop it. That's the problem with the Republicans. And the Democrats have said we're not moving incrementally. There's enough empirical data and evidence and dead bodies to show where you need to move dramatically and reduce this power and get some systematic change in the police department. Nobody's moving incrementally like this is some type of economic incentive program. People are dying. What are you talking about getting credit for incrementally moving? We need bold action and bold action now.
Scott, this is the issue you're going to run into. That it still has to pass a Senate that is controlled by Mitch McConnell, where you have Rand Paul, who is blocking the anti-lynching legislation, where you have
we're going to take care of them in November. If we can't happen, we're going to happen later. But you cannot move incrementally.
One second, Robert.
You're saying that black lives
one second, Robert, finish.
Black lives incrementally, not decisively. Stop it. Enough is enough. Stop it.
Look, Scott, if the United States Senate had a composition like this panel, I would agree with you completely. But you have to have something that can pass and can be signed into law. Dr. King didn't get everything he wanted in 64. We didn't get everything we wanted in 65. The fact is we have to start moving the ball forward or we're marking time. We can't continue marking time.
1 second. Don't talk over each other. I can't hear either one of you. Brooke, I want to go to you. Robert just said that.
Yeah, so
hold on, Brooke. Hold on. Robert just said that Dr. King didn't get everything that he wanted in 64, 65. But you look at the Fair Housing Act. That was filibustered by Republicans for 2 years. And it was Senator Edward Brooke, the first African-American elected since Reconstruction, Alpha, Scott. And he was the one who fought his own party and broke the filibuster. At some point, Senator Tim Scott, Brooke, needs to stand up to his party and say, no, if I'm going to put a bill out, I'm going to put a real bill out. And these are the things that need to be in it. There have been times where Senator Tim Scott has said, this federal judge bridged too far, and they withdraw the nomination. Senator Tim Scott can be far more aggressive in challenging his party. He has the moral authority, and trust me, they will listen, but he has to be willing to actually do it, Brooke.
Yeah, he's not put in an uncomfortable position. He chose this position repeatedly. He is where he wants to be. It's his decision. It's a conscious decision that he's making to be the face of a bill that I think we're talking a lot about how much good this does and not enough about does this cause harm? Because this bill not only doesn't really ban anything that's deemed problematic when it comes to policing right now, but it also puts more federal funds into police departments at a time where experts and activists are saying, hey, we need to take at least some funding out of these police departments and put it into other public services that will better help serve our communities and choose other ways outside of violence to help keep crime down, to help keep our communities safe. So forget about how much this helps or what little or not getting everything. Does this bill cause harm? And I think a lot of people who are focused on how much money goes into policing, I think they would say yes.
This is,
and
again,
the data is there with the dead bodies. The data is there. What else you got to study? Tell me what else you want to study about dead people and dead black men at the hands of road cops, bad cops, violent cops. What else do we need to study?
Yep.
More dead bodies. Stop it.
Well, again,
we can wait till 2021. We can wait until we get the Democrats.
Here's the deal. Fine. Here's the whole piece. Allow the Senator Tim Scott bill to move forward. Let's see if it actually passes, if Democrats have courage to say, no, this bill is not good enough. And then watch the House pass their bill. And then if Mitch McConnell chooses not to bring the House bill up, Mitch, that's on you. And we remember that when he's running for re-election come November.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Fam, we support black-owned businesses, obviously, so check out these headphones by Seek. Mary Spio, her sister, she is the designer, the inventor, the creator of these unbelievable great headphones, 360-degree sound 4D headphones. If you do gaming, you can use these headphones. You can actually talk. There's Bluetooth as well. Unbelievable. And so they got a partnership with us, folks, and that is you have a promo code. If you buy these headphones, you get a discount. Go to Seek.com and use the promo code right there. You see it, RMVIP2020. RMVIP 2020. And so we certainly want to thank Mary Spio and the folks at Seek.com.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
No charcoal grills are allowed.
I'm white. I got you, Carl.
Illegally selling water without a permit
On my property.
Whoa! Hey! Give me your ass. You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
Well, a Philadelphia man was caught on video tearing down Black Lives Matter signs. When questioned, this was his response.
I know, it's the city. I pay for this.
Oh, you pay for that?
Yeah, my taxes pay for this place. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know. So I can do whatever I want.
Oh, you can do whatever you want.
You're fucking right, I can.
All right.
And I'm always around here, too.
Great. I live right here, too.
Good. I'm always around. You're welcome.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. Not to me, they don't. Good. You can call it any way you want. You can go fuck yourself, though.
Well, guess what, y'all? He ain't got a job. The man was identified as Michael Hinkle, who worked as a supervisor writ server from the 1st Judicial District Family Court in Philadelphia. Worked, as in past tense. He has been fired. See, I just keep trying to explain to y'all. Stop acting a fool.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Fam, we support black-owned businesses, obviously, so check out these headphones by Seek. Mary Spio, her sister, she is the designer, the inventor, the creator of these unbelievable great headphones, 360-degree sound 4D headphones. If you do gaming, you can use these headphones. You can actually talk. There's Bluetooth as well. Unbelievable. And so they got a partnership with us, folks, and that is you have a promo code. If you buy these headphones, you get a discount. Go to Seek.com and use the promo code right there. You see it, RMVIP2020. RMVIP 2020. And so we certainly want to thank Mary Spio and the folks at Seek.com.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered?
Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
All right, folks, tomorrow's Juneteenth. And, of course, folks are focused and celebrating. We'll be celebrating all around the country, even though Texas became the first state led by the late Representative Al Edwards that made this a official state holiday. Virginia now has become the second one. The governor declared that on yesterday. But you know, the ignoramus sitting in the White House had to weigh in, get his arrogant self included. So he gave an interview with the Wall Street Journal. This is what this fool said. Go to my iPad, please. He said, Trump said a black Secret Service agent told him the meaning of Juneteenth as he faced criticism for planning a campaign rally that day. He said, Reese, I did something good. I made Juneteenth very famous. Nobody had ever heard of it.
What he hadn't heard of is how powerful this holiday is to black people. And they made him not only take notice, but move his damn Klan rally so that he didn't have massive protests and potentially even violence greeting him in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
It's just beyond me, Erica, you made Juneteenth famous. Now forget the fact that you have events in Washington, D.C., and North Carolina, and New Jersey, and Philadelphia, all around the country. Even though it originated in Texas, black folks all around the country have been celebrating it. Now you have all these companies who are now declaring Juneteenth a paid day off. I mean, left and right. Like all of a sudden, and like I said, ABC is doing a special on Juneteenth. You even got these black media companies like, ooh, Juneteenth, everybody jumping up. And I'm just sitting, again, being from Texas, I'm just laughing because I'm going, sorry, Trump, we knew about it. Your dumb ass didn't.
Yep. But this is where whiteness enters into the conversation. Wow, we've learned about it. So now it must be something that has just been eyes open for everyone else. And so, what else do we expect from somebody who doesn't even read his presidential daily briefings? He's mediocre. This is the same person that sought fame. So he's really not in even though he's occupying the White House, he has no interest in governing. He has no interest in the affairs of being a president. What he is most concerned with are approval ratings and keeping those 5 black people that refuse to leave his side happy.
Greg.
Yeah, in this case, I'm going to agree in part with the current occupant of the bunker at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. His election unleashed a new round of weaponized white nationalism in this country. Certainly entered the soul and the spirit of Klansmen like Derek Chauvin and others. And so the state murders that these police have committed, the Ku Klux Klan in Atlanta trying to back their murdering friend on the a lot of this has been enabled by Donald Trump. But what Donald Trump did not factor in is that the spirit of Juneteenth is a fierce spirit, brother. And as you said, I was telling somebody the other day, and we were talking earlier, you and I, we graduated from Jack Yates High School. When George Floyd came out of Jack Yates High School, Jack Yates in 1872 and 2 other brothers put together $1,000 and bought what became the Emancipation Park where they first celebrate Juneteenth in Houston. What our orange guy down there doesn't quite understand is that when white supremacy rears its head, there is a reaction from black people in this country. And so, not only did he not remember that he put out, or his office put out, a perfunctory Juneteenth acknowledgement last year, which is what presidents have been doing for quite some time. Not only does he does not know, in fact, that in 1968, as Reverend Barber and them get ready to do Poor People's Campaign on the 20th, that on the June 19th, 1968, they had a rally on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial to end Resurrection City. And it was on the day of Juneteenth, and that helped spread the celebration. Donald Trump doesn't quite understand as he goes to Tulsa, which, by the way, is just reported a quarter of the over 400 new COVID-19 cases that were reported today, making the number one-day high, and the previous high was on Wednesday. As he goes out there, perhaps he needs to reflect on the fact that if he wants to take credit for making Juneteenth this kind of popular, he should probably also take credit for unleashing the wrath of black people in this country. And in that respect, I'd give him a little partial credit for that.
So I don't give him partial credit for nothing. That's the professor in you. I don't give him credit for a damn thing. Bottom line is, he didn't know what the hell Juneteenth was. He just wanted to be arrogant about it. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. Seek.com, folks. So we got their headsets. Mary Spio, she, of course, is the founder, the creator, designer of these headphones. The 360-degree 4D headphones. Amazing sound. Gamers love them. Of course, I love music, and so it's great to listen to this wonderful sound that really travels around your entire head. That's why I love them the most. Plus, they're black and gold, being an alpha, I'm just saying. If you want to get the headphones, all you got to do is go to Seek.com, 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 and just simply use the promo code RMVIP2020. You see it right there. RMVIP2020 at Seek.com.